in the little explanations, this is me trying, which is your first.
Yes.
You say there's a story to that, which it takes longer to get into than you've possibly got time for on iTunes. So do you have time to explain a little bit about that story?
Well, this song is called "That's Me Trying," and it's by William Shatner. And not to well, it's a kind of long story short. I wrote the song. I wrote the words for the song, and Ben Folds, the musician, wrote the music. And I just had an email, because I'd written about Ben Folds in 31 songs, he got in touch, and we emailed back and forth a bit. And then I just got one saying, hey, do you want to write a song for William Shatner? I'm doing a whole album with him. And, you know, what can you do if you get an email like that? And say, yes, I really, really, really want to write a song for William Shatner. Yeah. So I sent... I remember I sent 2 sets of lyrics, one that probably took me about 7 hours, and the other one that took me 10 minutes, and they chose the one that took 10 minutes and recorded it. But then a couple of days later, the phone went, and I picked it up and said, oh, hi, it's Ben. And I said, oh, hi, Ben, and we'd never spoken, I think, on the phone. He said, I'm just going to put you on to Bill. And I was trying to go, no, but it was too late. I had William Shatner on the phone. And he said, oh, I've just emailed you something. And he said, go to your computer. So I logged on, and there was a whole bunch of lyrics in a document. He said, I want you to work on all these. I want you to do it better. He said, you're a poet. I said, well, I'm not, actually. He said, oh, I thought Ben said you wrote poetry. Anyway, yeah. He said, okay, open the first file. What's in the first file? And I said, oh, it's a song, it's a lyrics called Why Me, Lord? He said, yeah. He said, okay, so what happened was, I came back late one night and I found my wife lying dead in the swimming pool. He said, and so I wrote this song about it. I wonder if you could work on this and make something. I was like, well, that's quite personal. I think that would be better coming from you than from me. And we went through the whole set of lyrics one by one like this, so I ended up not being able to contribute anymore. But it was a very memorable experience.
Genius, I'm glad I was. I was mildly scared, but I'm glad I did. And the music is, runs throughout nearly all the books, or ones I've written. My Fidelity was the first I read. Do you draw much inspiration from music? But as I was listening to your subject, are there soundtracks you've listened to that you associate with the books as you've written them?
I wouldn't say that anything particularly stands out as being associated with one book or another, but I do know that I couldn't write without music, in that for me it's something that goes in and comes out as something else. And there's a wonderful quote from a critic called Walter Pater, who said, all art aspires to the condition of music. And I really identify with that. I think that music is the purest form of getting a job done in terms of expressing something, and it can be done without words. And of course that's what art's trying to do, and that's why art got more and more abstract, that they were trying to recreate the condition of music, I think. And in a way it's what I want to do in the books, is to try and make them like songs, so that you go on an emotional journey, and it's not particularly what they're actually about, but the feelings they give you.
And something I had no idea about until doing a bit of research for today, doing my homework, was about your own musical career and the band that you collaborate with.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. They're saying a song. Tell us a little bit about that bit.
Well, a few years ago I came across an album by an American band called Mirror, who I completely fell in love with. They're a sort of roots rock band. And I went to see them, and soon after that we sort of struck up a relationship, and when they came to London we went out for a drink and stuff, and after a while we decided to try and do something together. So I wrote 5 essays which were the sort of live equivalent of 31 songs. I chose 5 concerts that have been particularly memorable for one reason or another, and talked about live music, and at the end of the essay they cover something that's come up. And then the last essay is about them, and then they do their show. But it's fantastic for me. I get to see them a lot, see them play live. I think they're a fabulous live band. And, we've done it in really fun places. We did Big Walls here. And yeah, I think as I get older, I want to do more and more collaboration. I'm fed up of sitting on my own in a room.
And then the other thing I saw a lot, so many of the film frames here are adapted into films, but I didn't realise High Fidelity had been turned into a musical.
Yes.
That must have been fun. Did you have much of a hand in writing the
I didn't do anything. I was contacted by some extremely nice people a few years ago, very talented songwriter, team, lyricist and musician, and they said they wanted to do this, and then it just sort of took off, and they got backed to do it by a Broadway producer, and it was great and really exciting, and it was one of the biggest Broadway disasters of the last 4 or 5 years. I went to the first night. I really loved it, and they got horrible reviews. And it was one of those things like you read about Broadway, that you're at this party and it's 8 o'clock after the 6 o'clock show or whatever for a premiere, and everyone's having a fantastic time, and then suddenly the room goes quiet and everyone starts to go home, and it's because the first reviews are in.
Right.
And I think it opened on a Monday, it was closed the following Sunday. And it cost like $10 million to put on.
That's pretty impressive. Well,
it did feel as though I'd taken part in a quintessentially Broadway story. It may be much better than it running for years and years and me becoming a squillionaire, than seeing what it was like for those people. But I was very sad for them.
But your performance music is very successful. Bruce Springsteen, The Box, is amongst your fans.
Among my fans?
Yes.
Well, that's very nice.
As I heard.
I've not heard it from him himself.
And when I was, again, with the playlist, as I was doing my research, it made me obviously think of Rob in High Fidelity. I was wondering, talking about the kind of technology, what you thought Rob, who's passionate, a very music purist on the vinyl and the tapes, how he would feel about downloading and iPods and the digitalisation and compression of music, whether that was what your thoughts about it are.
I'm not an audiophile. I like the songs and I like to listen to them any way I can, and for me the whole digital thing's been fantastic. It's made music more convenient, and it means that I never have to be without it. Rob would hate it. People have asked me several times if I'd ever write a sequel to one of the books, and I think the only one that would tempt me would be High Fidelity, to see how Rob's aged. But one of the things that stops me is I have no idea what he'd be doing now. I know he wouldn't have the shop anymore. The only guy I know who ran a record shop is now an estate agent, and I didn't want to write a book about an estate agent.
I'd be really sad if Rob back as an estate agent.
Yes.
I think a lot of people would.
And what do you think he'd be doing?
Still bumming around doing.
But he couldn't have the shop, could he?
No. Maybe he's running a download website that isn't doing so well.
Yes. Are there such things as unsuccessful download websites?
Well,
okay. Well, that's not a bad choice.
Never.
Thank you.